We like to think that we're in the driver's seat of our emotions, that our thoughts and our personality are what call the shots. But what if I told you there's this invisible force, a whole team of chemical conductors working behind the scenes, shaping how you feel every single day? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on that hidden world. So, just think about it for a second. When you feel that sudden flash of anger, or a wave of sadness, or even just a moment of pure, unexpected joy, what is actually going on inside you to create that feeling? What's really pulling the strings?
Well, it turns out the answer is way more biological than most of us realize. There's this hidden network, this ancient and really powerful system of chemical messengers that's influencing everything from who we trust to our deepest anxieties.
To really get a handle on this, we need to take a look at the body's internal control panel. And trust me, this is where the science starts to get really, really cool. Yeah, it's a bit of a mouthful, behavioral endocrinology. But all that really means is there's an entire field of science dedicated to studying this incredibly powerful connection between our hormones, our neuroendocrine system, and how we act, think, and feel. Probably the easiest way to imagine this whole system is to think of it like your body's own Wi-Fi. It's this complex web of neurons, glands, and hormones, all talking to each other, coordinating everything, without a single physical wire. And this network has a super clear chain of command. It all starts up in the brain with the hypothalamus. Think of it like a sensor. When it detects a need, it sends a signal to the pituitary gland, the master controller, which then shoots out hormones into your bloodstream. And those hormones travel all over, delivering very specific instructions to your cells. It's kind of beautiful, right? So efficient. Okay, so now that we've got the basics down, this is where we get to the plot twists. Because the hormones you think you know, well, they might just have a few surprises up their sleeves. Let's start with a couple you've definitely heard of: estrogen and progesterone. Now, they often get stuck in this box of being just sex hormones, but their influence goes way, way beyond that. We're talking right into the core of our mental and emotional state. So check this out. What's so fascinating here is how they create this delicate balance. Estrogen is kind of like the accelerator in your brain. It amps up excitatory signals and boosts those feel-good chemicals like serotonin and dopamine. But then you have progesterone, which is like the brake pedal. It enhances the calming signals and acts as a natural anti-anxiety agent. So look, the most important thing to get here is that it's not about one being good and the other bad. Not at all. A stable mood really depends on their natural, coordinated dance, that fluctuation and the balance between them. When they work together in the right sequence, everything feels much more stable. All right, let's totally switch gears. I want to talk about a hormone that you probably connect with food, maybe diabetes, but as it turns out, insulin is a huge, and I mean huge, player in our mental health story. Get this, about 1 in every 3 American adults has a condition called insulin resistance. And the wildest part? Most of them don't even have a clue. It's basically when your body's cells start to ignore insulin's signal to absorb sugar from your blood. And this chart shows you exactly why that's so important. A huge, groundbreaking study out of Stanford University found that people with insulin resistance have double the risk of developing major depressive disorder. I mean, that is a staggering link between how your body handles sugar and how vulnerable you might be to depression. So, what does this all mean? It means our lifestyle choices, the food we eat, how much we get up and move, they're not just about our physical health anymore. They are directly tuning the hormonal environment that can either protect our mental health or, frankly, put it at risk. Okay, let's tackle a famous one: oxytocin. We've all heard it called the love hormone, right? The cuddle chemical, the one that's supposed to make us all feel warm and fuzzy and trusting. Well, the real story is, you guessed it, a lot more complicated. While yeah, oxytocin can absolutely promote social bonding, some research has found this wild paradox. In certain people, especially those already dealing with social anxiety, higher levels of oxytocin are actually linked to more anxiety. This study from 2018 really brings it home. They found that in men with social anxiety disorder, the more oxytocin they had, the worse their symptoms were. One theory is that it might be a compensation thing, like the body is just pumping out more and more oxytocin trying desperately to fix the problem, but it just isn't working. So we've seen over and over that this hormonal balance is absolutely key. But what actually happens in the real world when that delicate system gets thrown off? The consequences can be pretty profound. We're seeing more studies linking some types of hormonal birth control to a higher risk of depression, especially for adolescents whose brains are still in a critical development phase. Some synthetic hormones, like the progestin in certain implants, are tied to higher rates of mood swings and irritability. It just goes to show that messing with the body's natural rhythm can have very real mental health costs. And bringing it back to insulin for a second, this powerful connection makes insulin resistance what some researchers call a silent time bomb. It's not just taking down toward metabolic diseases like diabetes, it's also a hidden risk factor that's quietly raising the odds of major depression. When you put all of this information together, it really forces you to step back and, well, completely rethink how you view your own brain and your own mental well-being. And here it is, the big idea we've been building up to this whole time. That clear line we all tend to draw between mental health and physical health, it's completely artificial. They are biologically, fundamentally intertwined. They're just two sides of the very same coin. Our moods aren't just these abstract feelings floating around in our heads. They are real, physical events rooted in the complex symphony of hormones being conducted inside of us at every single moment. And understanding this doesn't make our experiences less valid. It actually empowers us with a much deeper knowledge of who we are. And all of this leaves us with one last massive question to think about. If our mental state is so profoundly tied to our metabolic health, to our hormonal health, then what does that mean for the future? How should we start to redefine mental health care so that we're treating the whole person, body and mind, together?